We have made a group presentation on 4 days romantic tour in Sydney. Our group members are Angela, Bade, Jiyun, and Sagina. The table of content consists of overview of the Sydney city, its existing tourism products and offerings, emerging tourist consumer group, white culinary tourism, 4 days tour on Sydney, methods that exist tourism providers and destination marketing organizations use to evaluate the tourist experience, tools that Sydney Opera House used to boost consumer satisfaction levels, potential economic, social, cultural, and environmental impacts on the local community in the chosen destination.
Good afternoon. My name is Barry Eligible, and I'm going to be talking about my part here is overview of Sydney existing tourism products and offers. And I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of feedback about the Sydney city and and how the population and some figures would actually help us to understand what's going on over there. So the population of Sydney is 5.23 million. And it's a big city as a size. It's over 12.4 million visitors in 20,000, 2.8 million international visitors, and 9.6 million domestic visitors. So as you guys see here, the domestic visitors actually is a big number. So people like Sydney because it's a warm weather, it's a nice environment, and also it's really a good atmosphere. Like if you want to spend time with your family, your friends. It's a great place for a holiday, so people would like to go there and enjoy their time in the warm weather. It's not like Melbourne or other cities. As you hear here, as you guys know, Sydney is the capital of New South Wales and one of the Australia's largest cities. It's a quite big city, and a lot of people like to visit Sydney just to see like all these sites and all these beautiful places. And yeah, as you guys know, Sydney has a very strong economy, and it held itself Australia's #1 destination in 2019. So as all this data shows that Sydney has a lot of visitors, and a lot of people would like to go there. And as it's been nominated to be #1 as a destination in Australia, it's best known for the Harbourfront Sydney Opera House, and the Royal National Park, Bondi Beach, Taronga Zoo, the Royal Botanic Garden, and Hyde Park, and the oldest parkland. So I personally have been to Sydney a few times, and I enjoyed all these sites, especially Bondi Beach is a beautiful city. And yeah, so like there's like a big chance for the city to grow and be like much better in all kind of ways. And it's a most popular Sydney destination will be like Opera House with 10.9 million visitors a year. That's a very quite high number. So like for people who comes all over the world just to see the Opera House, it's a beautiful site, and people want to go there and spend their money and their like holidays comfortably. And moving forward to the next slide. Sydney is one of the most visually stunning cities in the world, but it's an everyday thing and general lifestyle and the local that makes it special too. So Sydney has a different lifestyle. Sydney is a very the lifestyle in Sydney is very fast. So everyone works, everyone like. It's a city that actually doesn't sleep. Everyone's awake, everyone's working. It's a lot of construction, a lot of new sites, and there's always something new to do in Sydney. So as a city, like they have a very strong market and a very strong economy, so that people would tend to go there just to make a living and make money, obviously, like to go there, and they like it more comfortable. If you like that sort of lifestyle, fast, quick, and a lot of hard work, then Sydney is a city for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will be talking about emerging tourist consumer group today. So, an emerging tourist consumer group will be focusing on our honeymooners who are looking for a tourist attraction location that offers great scenery, entertainment, and at affordable prices, such as the Opera House. The characteristics of honeymoon tourists usually involve a couple who are looking to spend a romantic time together during their experience, or a newly married couple who wants to spend their honeymoon phase together through exciting touristic activities. The main differentiation from being a tourist consumer group as to travelers is that it depends on the person's personal preference as to what they like or dislike, which can be quite subjective. This can also be a strategy for the Opera House to help define what their consumers are looking for. Also, knowing that the consumer group is targeted at honeymooners, it is most likely that the tourist couple won't go out of their way to meet other individual travelers in particular due to having planned the trip well beforehand to travel together.
I will talk about why we decide on culinary tourism. According to the International Culinary Tourism Association said, because food and drink involve all of the human senses, we will remember a meal much longer than we will a museum or stained glass windows. And they found that food is one of the fastest growing interests among travelers. Food reputation is an important factor when choosing a holiday destination. According to Global Data's consumer survey, 27.6% globally argued that the popularity of a destination in terms of food and drink is a factor that helps them decide where to go on holiday. And compared to years past, people are spending more on ready-to-food restaurant meals and gourmet treats than ever before. Culinary tourism has become popular as the steady increase in interest in food channels, travel shows featuring local and regional cuisines, food documentaries, and online culinary travel shows. Also, culinary tourism, which describes travelers who visit an area specifically for its food, is a growing tourism market that has the potential to generate millions of dollars in the economy. Now I will present 4 days plan for the honeymooners. First of all, I will tell the accommodation to recommend. This is the Pier 1 Sydney Harbour Hotel in Worship Bay. The reason why I picked this hotel, this is a waterfront accommodation near the harbour bridge, therefore it will bring a more romantic time to the honeymooners' room. Also, they have fine dining. The gantry offers 360-degree theater from the harbour to pier kitchen to table. For the first day, the tour will be in the rocks. In the daytime, tour the Sydney Opera House and try the Opera Kitchen's tasting plate. For tours, they provide 7 different language services. That will be French, German, Spanish, Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean. The dinner tour will be a private Sydney bar and a laneways tour. It will tour from the rocks and finish in the vineyard area. Go to 4 different places and try the food and have some drinks in a romantic mood. Also walk around the rocks area with a historical story. This is the second day tour. Glib Vegan Tour is trying 5 different restaurant vegan and vegetarian meals. Surrey Hills Dining Walk is a nighttime tour for 3 hours, and honeymooners can try Italy, France, and Middle East cuisines with cocktails. In the daytime for the third day, there's no tour, so they can have their own time, but I recommend the brunch place, which is Farah Cafe and Restaurant. They offer a Turkish breakfast buffet with unlimited coffee. After that, they can try Hakiki Turkish ice cream as well. Newtown Food and Street Art Tour is for dinner time, visiting 4 different restaurants, and along the way, they will hear about Newtown's history and discover the best street art. For the last day, they will experience a cruise with the music of Sydney Harbour. This tour running for the 3 hours on the cruise, and they will provide a seafood buffet, dessert, and coffee as well. Also, there is a live music, so they will have a unique experience on the last day.
I'll be talking about methods that existing tourism providers and destination marketing organizations use to evaluate the tourist experience. So some of the types of existing tourism providers specifically catered for tourists wanting to visit the Sydney Opera House is available within Sydney. That is the Sydney Theatre Company, where tourists can plan, book, and purchase their ticket for the admission for the Sydney Opera House from their online website. Also, the Sydney Theatre Company, being a destination marketing organisation, helps people from across Australia and even other countries gain insight about the Opera House as a tourist attraction location. DMOs also heavily rely on other people working together to make it succeed, which involves both the tourists and the organisation. The Sydney Opera House also works towards focusing on smaller goals, such as providing live shows and even dining within the Opera House for the consumer's convenience. So the next point I'll be talking about are some tools that the Sydney Opera House uses to boost the consumer satisfaction levels. So some tools they use to help satisfy their consumers is that they provide other services, including special mobility tours. For those who want the same experience despite being physically disadvantaged, and also they offer Australian Sign Language interpreters during the tour for those who need it. They also heavily rely on online promotions and the use of social media to gain potential customers due to their shows mainly targeted towards a niche market of people involving honeymooners who are looking for a relevant and entertaining show to watch. Certain shows which involve romantic music are also showcased throughout the year, and that usually attracts more couples and honeymooners who are looking for activities to do around Sydney. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sagina and I'll be talking on positive and negative economic impacts, socio-cultural impacts, and environmental impacts. Number 1. The positive economic impacts. It creates job opportunities and increases in economy. Tourism creates jobs for local people. The Australian Bureau of Statistics showed there were 748,200 tourism jobs created in 2019. When there is an increase in the number of tourists in certain destinations, it helps local businesses as it increases buying and selling of goods, which enhances the economy of the region and people have better standard of living. Increases in economy. Culinary tourism helps generate millions of dollars in economy in Australia. 4.4 million international tourist visitors to New South Wales in 2019. The total international tourist spend in New South Wales was 11.4 billion, which included food festivals, restaurants, going to farms, local markets, and food shows. Also, Sydney was the most visited destination in Australia with over 16.1 million visitors. With the positive, it also comes with negative economic impacts. The negative economic impacts are pressure on local farmers, perceived as a day trip destination. Pressure on local farmers. As the demand for the food and beverages grow, local farmers are pressurized to produce products of good quality in short time, which deteriorates the quality of the product. However, the tourists are believed to consume these food and beverages thinking they are of high quality. Number 2. Perceived as a day trip destination. Sydney is perceived as a day trip destination. For culinary tourism to flourish in Sydney, late-night food markets, restaurants, and more should be established or be publicized to the tourists so that it helps gain more income. Social-cultural impacts. Cultural exchange between local and tourists. When tourists from different backgrounds come to visit a destination, there are always interaction with people. This way, spending time and sharing culture knowledge about each other's culture will help both parties understand each other's culture. Although there might be some language barrier, but getting slowly to know each other, it will be helpful for both the parties to understand each other's culture. The negative social-cultural impacts are religious issues and overcrowding. Religious issues. Due to certain religious issues and beliefs, tourists are restricted from culinary experiences. For example, Hindu people don't eat beef, as cows are considered sacred animals. Similarly, Muslims don't eat food unless it is halal. Number 2. Overcrowding. Overcrowding in destination impacts negatively on local people. There are always parties and overcrowding and noise pollution in the destination, which is why locals are disturbed, which can affect their sleep or health issues, or it might bring health issues. The positive environmental impact are contributes to environmental and conservation and development of the place. Contributes to environmental and conservation. Tourism has helped local inhabitants to benefit from environmental and conservation. It derives changing attitude towards conservation. As local conservation of flora and fauna has contributed to economy, local people voluntarily help in conserving the floras and faunas in their region. Number 2. Development of the place. As it is a tourist destination, more efforts and time is spent on area to look visually attractive to pull the tourists. This way local communities benefit from the development as well. They have better infrastructure facilities like road facilities, good transportation facilities, which improves the quality of local people's life. Negative environmental impacts are littering and greenhouse emission of greenhouse gases. Littering has been one of the major negative impacts of the tourist destinations. Waste disposal is a problem. Tourists litter the place visited by them. Animals and birds are mainly affected due to the irresponsible behaviors of the tourists. They intake the litters and die, also affects the locals too. Though there are dustbins in Sydney's public area, people tend to throw things like coffee cups, bottles, and litter the area, which is visually unappealing and can also cause a decrease in visitation from the tourists. Number 2. Greenhouse emission of greenhouse gases. Australia's carbon dioxide emissions are world's highest among the world, releasing 1.07% of world's greenhouse gases. These emissions are likely to be related to demand for transportation, food and shopping. Greenhouse gas cause severe health problems to local people and the tourists as well, such as respiratory problems, skin irritation, and climate change.
In conclusion, after you guys heard all my teammates talking about their parts and my part, I find investing in Sydney it's a big hit. It's a big tourism to bring the tourism to the Sydney city and see it. That's a big call. And for us to help the economy, we should go and invest in Sydney and try to go there and be a part of the strong economy. And it's a big competition out there. Sydney, it's a beautiful city. It's one of the best cities in the world. And as I mentioned before, it's very good that we bring the international investors. And if we do get a hold into all this international investors to come and invest in Sydney City, we'll have a very strong city, and maybe it's a strong country. So it will bring not just to Sydney City all this advantages. It will bring to the whole Australian cities, and it will be very good for everyone, and that will create more jobs. So like when the rich people comes, or like the investors will come and spend money in Sydney City, that will generate more jobs. And by generating more jobs, the economy will be stronger, and everyone will be happy in living in Sydney City.